Call of Duty Ghosts came out 1 year after Black Ops 2, and the two games were drastically different in many ways. The biggest difference being map design and the playstyles that the maps encouraged. Ghosts was a slower COD game with larger, messier maps that had a plethora of different flank routes, multi-level buildings, long lines of sight, and many open areas. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, on the other hand, put combat in a frame, as David Vonderhaar described it. The game forced engagements and shrunk down the scale of combat. Maps were often made up of 3 clearly designated lanes that limited the angles of exposure at any given time, especially when compared to the COD games that came before it. So let me tell you a personal story. The night that Call of Duty Ghosts launched, I couldn't be more excited. I finally had enough money at the right time to go to a midnight release, and I was really looking forward to getting my hands on all the new maps, weapons, perks, kill streaks, and really anything else the game had to offer. That night, surprisingly to me, took a turn, and I ended up raging at my first 4 to 6 matches on launch night. The drastic changes between the gameplay in Black Ops 2 compared to Call of Duty Ghosts threw me for an absolute loop, to say the least. I mean, there were more places to get shot from, and you died quickly. Anyway, long story short, after several months, I became pretty damn good at COD Ghosts, later down the line even joining a clan, and the clan would do game battles and wager matches, and I was no slouch. So what happened in between what I said before, me saying long story short, and now? Well, I learned. You see, the increase in variables compared to Black Ops 2 took a long time to learn, especially since I just kind of expected to do well based on my previous experiences with Call of Duty. I mean, I was okay at Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops 1, and Modern Warfare 3, I got really good at Black Ops 2, I don't know why I couldn't manage Call of Duty Ghosts, and it really bothered me. Why wasn't I just good? With the open beta of Modern Warfare, I noticed a lot of people not waiting long to voice their opinions and complaints about the many gameplay mechanics within the game. Now, let me point out the following. First of all, 4 days is not long enough to learn a PvP shooter. And playing Modern Warfare after a year of Black Ops 4 is very similar to playing Ghosts after a year of Black Ops 2. It's harsh. I believe there's lots to learn and master that people are taking for granted. I mean, the gameplay loop in Modern Warfare requires more map knowledge in order to be aggressive properly. Power positions hold a lot more value. You have to be okay with slowing down to avoid stupid deaths. You die very fast, weapons kick a lot, there's a new minimap mechanic, there's leaning and posting up weapons, lots of ways to improve and ruin weapons with the new customization. And I believe that people need to be okay with not knowing the game and doing poorly at first. Everyone is learning, and I hope that people spent the beta exploring the game as much as possible. I mean, you're not entitled to good matches of Modern Warfare because you were good at Black Ops 4, World War II, Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare Remastered, etc. I mean, really, if you spent the whole beta complaining, then you don't have the right mindset when learning a new game, and even though it has the Call of Duty name above it, Modern Warfare is a new game. It has different sprint out times, ADS times, time to kill, it has different mechanics, it has leaning, it has more customization, it has more complicated maps than other Call of Duty games. It has opening and closing doors, for God's sake. I don't even know if people have used those to their advantage yet. I've seen some people use them to their advantage. Some people don't even know what they sound like. I've burst open doors and people don't even know what that sound is, and they don't even look behind them. It's crazy. The Call of Duty community is so inept at dealing with campers that I can literally get 2 VTOLs by camping in a bathroom. I'll show that gameplay sometime soon here when I make my video about camping, but there's literally gameplay you'll see of me sitting in the bathroom, one of the maps, and nobody on the enemy team has the idea to throw a frag grenade and kill me. I get 2 VTOLs and turn the match around, and we end up winning. And I guarantee you, those are the people that complain about campers. The Call of Duty community didn't take the time to build classes that countered the playstyles they were not okay with in Call of Duty Ghosts, and it wasn't really that hard. Call of Duty Ghosts gave you a plethora of options. Is plethora the word? Plethora? Whatever. Gave you a ton of options to customize your classes in different ways. People bitched about IEDs and would never run sitrep, even though sitrep was only a 2-point perk and a sea of 2-point perks. Call of Duty Ghosts, once you learned all of the routes and spots and lines of sight, and you knew how to make a good class for what you wanted to do, the game was your oyster, and that's the same way I think it's going to be in Modern Warfare. Once I got a handle on the movement mechanics and learning how to parkour around the map, becoming aggressive was a lot easier. I had to be more smart about it. It wasn't just like a single lane that I can push into and I have maybe 2 exit routes. No, there's different rooftops and doors and windows and pathways and open areas I have to think about when I'm being aggressive, and once I figured that out, I was capable of doing it. And even though I'm not good at Modern Warfare, from the start of the beta to the end of the beta, I saw myself gradually getting better at being aggressive, at locking down areas, at playing the objective. I learned. I think the reason I enjoyed Modern Warfare, even though it has a lot of things that can be very frustrating, is I went into it knowing that I didn't know, and I was willing to be taught. I knew the game was going to play differently, I knew it was going to be slower, I knew it was going to be messier, I knew there was going to be lots of angles of exposure, and I thought, that's just like when I played COD Ghosts, and it was such a fucking shell shock after coming from Black Ops 2 that it made me frustrated because there was too much to deal with, too many variables, but I had to take the time to learn, and so do you. Like I said, you're not entitled to a good match because you're good at COD if you don't learn the COD you're playing. 4 days is not long enough to learn a Call of Duty game. I'm sorry, it's just not. And hell, to any of my friends that are watching, a lot of the times I saw you die, you weren't playing right. In the same way that a lot of my deaths in the gameplays you guys are going to see over the next couple of weeks, I'm not playing right. I'm overextending. I'm being too aggressive. I'm not landing my shots. I'm not using the gun the way it should be used. And some of that's exploratory, and some of it's just fucking gross incompetence. Because that's what learning a game is. It's exploratory. It's incompetence. It's learning. People bitching about campers from day one. Really? After playing the beta, I've even revised my opinion on the minimap and mid-match class customization and sliding. Like, I have a whole video coming up about that, but I just wanted to put this out here right now. People need to be okay with not knowing the game and doing poorly at first. And this beta showed that the Call of Duty community clearly doesn't know how to hop into a game that they know nothing about and then learn it. They just expect to do well. Natural talent only gets you so many places, and previous experience only gets you so many places. Let the game be its own monster that requires taming, and stop recommending to the developers to drastically change up the core design of the game. I'm flustered just thinking about that. You had the game for 2 weekends if you played on PlayStation 1, if you played on PC or Xbox. You're gonna tell me that you're gonna go to the developers and tell them to redo the game? It couldn't have anything to do with the fact that maybe you had less than 24 hours in the game and you don't know how to play it yet? Because I think that's a big ass possibility. Alright, I got rantier at the end. I was gonna have this be like a 4-minute video, but of course, I'm me and I have to go on longer than necessary. But let me just reiterate something before I end this video. If you spent the whole beta complaining, then you don't have the right mindset when learning a new game, and you don't deserve to do well at it. Anyway, see you when I see you. Goodbye.
Ran off the left hand side. There you go. Jesus, again.